Back now live at the Tampa Bay Times Forum for the final night of the GOP Republican National Convention. Mitt Romney set to take the stage. Indeed, a new stage put in place for his acceptance of his party's nomination. I'm joined live. We spared no expense. We flew in our two to-the-point experts here. Actually, they were here covering this anyway. I'm with George Bennett, longtime Palm Beach Post political reporter, Brian Crowley, one of the state's veteran political reporters, CrowleyPoliticalReport.com. Gentlemen, thanks for being here. We'll start with you, George. Talk about tonight, the moment, the atmospherics, and the message and the markers he really has to hit tonight with his nationwide audience.
Sure. You know, talking to Republicans and Romney people all week, they've been saying, despite the fact that Romney's been running for months and months, really for years, that he really hasn't defined himself to most voters who are just maybe casually following it and tuning in for the first time tonight. So this is really his opportunity, they say, to define himself and kind of establish who he is and set a tone for the last 10 weeks.
Brian, some said we shouldn't expect him to get touchy-feely. That's not Mitt Romney. He's been knocked for perhaps not empathy for the middle class. Your sense of how he has to connect tonight?
Well, I think he needs to connect with Florida voters in particular, because we know this is the must-win state for Romney, and he needs to talk about issues like Medicare and the other entitlement issues he wants to talk about. He needs to talk about jobs to help to assure in a state where we have very high unemployment, and he needs to do it in a way where people feel comfortable with him and believe he's the guy that can get the job done, and also not somebody who's going to hurt them in the process.
George, is there any sense early with Florida delegates and Florida experts that they're beginning to make any headway on the Medicare case? You heard Paul Ryan last night say, we want this debate on Medicare. We're going to argue we'll save it by reforming it. Is that making any traction with Florida voters or the pros here?
I think a lot of the Romney people are happy. First of all, there's been more discussion of Medicare in the last couple of weeks on terms that the Republicans want to have that discussion on than there had ever been before. And if you look at the early polls, the initial fear was that putting Ryan on the ticket would scare seniors, but seniors are the strongest supporters of the Romney-Ryan ticket.
Brian, talk a little bit. I mean, he's in Tampa. They had it here for a reason. Florida's the battleground state. Do you expect a particular pitch to Florida tonight, or will it just be implicit in everything he talks about with the economy, with talk about seniors and the like?
Well, I think he would do well to make at least some pitch directly to Florida voters, but obviously he's talking to the nation. This is a must-win state, but I think he's also going to try to set a tone that helps put the Obama campaign on the defensive as they get ready to go into their convention.
And the prime thing you think he might say, there'll be many, but pick one or two you think will be the key coming out of tonight to, from their point of view, try to put Democrats on the ropes.
Well, I think the number one thing is going to be that we've already tried President Obama's methods for trying to fix the economy and other problems that we have, and that he has failed. I think the message that he has failed and the message they gave last night that he doesn't deserve 4 more years is going to resonate throughout the whole tonight.
All right, and one more thing we want to bring up. This is important. The mystery guest at the convention tonight, we're told, is going to be Clint Eastwood. George, do you want to do your Clint Eastwood impersonation? What you think will happen? Is there going to be a make my day moment?
I'm not going to.
George is a serious and a very good political reporter. He's not going to do that at all. Gentlemen, though, on a serious note, we do thank you for being with us. It'll be an interesting night. We'll touch base with you after the speech, see what people are saying. Coming up next, behind the scenes at the Republican National Convention, Evan Axelbank will have that.